What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas with you on a Monday. It's about 8:45. We do these live streams every Monday at about 8:30 to 8:45 just to kind of hang out, chat weather, and kind of recap the week that was and certainly look forward because that's what forecasting is. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from. The theme of this video or live stream, because we are in fact live, the theme of this is going to be the wild pattern change that is coming. That really starts to get set into motion over the next few days on a subtle scale. And then it really, really ramps up to a large scale pattern change as we go forward towards Valentine's Day and beyond. That's been the theme, that's been the signal for about a week, and that signal is giving us a little more confidence. So we're going to talk all about that again. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from, and we are going to get at it for sure. So thank you guys a ton for tuning in, and we're going to be talking a lot about the West. If you're tuning in from the West, I think there's a lot of this is going to be geared to that because that's where the major pattern change is coming. There's also going to be a severe weather threat in the South, Daytona 500. If there are any race fans in the chat, let me know. This could threaten the race, although I am cautiously optimistic about some things. And then the Northeast, I think we're going to start to thaw out a little bit. Maybe not as far north as you would like, but nonetheless, we are going to be watching that. I'm just changing my model here, and we are going to get at it. So you can clearly see where, first and foremost, where this pattern change is already kind of underway. Look at Wichita right now. We're at 70, just about 70 in Oklahoma City. We're in the mid 70s in Dallas. San Antonio's at 75. Houston's at 68. There is where the warmth is kind of surging back right up into the nation's heartland. If you caught the videos last week, we talked about the warmth would first surge from Texas back into the plains. There it is. We're still hanging on to the cold, though, in New England and into the Northeast. I do think overall that is going to change. And I started with the temperatures. I want to show you this. This is going to be the temperature anomaly forecast. And this is really the big deal going forward over the next couple of days and really next week. So what this is, it's not the numbers you see popping up on the screen here. This isn't your actual temperature. This is the anomaly. So anywhere it is red and you see the number, that's going to be above normal. So around the Houston area, Panhandle, Texas, Oklahoma, we're talking 15 to 20 degrees above normal. This is as we get into the 19th of February. But you clearly see what's going on. We have the surge still of warmth right there. We have the cold in the west, which we desperately need. And then we have the bitter cold in the northeast, which I think a lot of us would be happy to break out from at some point. I think in New England, we're going to keep a lot of that warmth, maybe getting towards Pennsylvania into southern New York. We have a shot to break free. Now, the one of the things that's going to throw a wrench into everything, it is this Valentine's Day storm. So we're going to talk about this a lot, and this is really going to be the theme of a lot of our long form videos and shorts through the upcoming week so that you can stay updated with some of the model changes. This storm's a slam dunk. The issue is, okay, how does it come together? Where does it hit? And what kind of precipitation type is it, especially into the Northeast? You see here Saturday, February 14th, there's a whole lot of heavy rain, maybe the chance for a few strong thunderstorms as well. We'll look at the upper level pattern in just 1 second. But as we go forward here, look at this bad boy get cranking. Now, there's not a ton of snow with this, but look at all the heavy rain towards the Carolinas, deep south Florida. Where we're going to have the shot for some snow is going to be like Northeast Pennsylvania, interior New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, especially west of Boston, and then kind of riding up like that into the Canadian Maritimes. That right now looks to be the best and the brunt of the snowy side when it comes to this Valentine's Day storm. Hey, what's going on, Jordan? Welcome in Wisconsin. Hope you are staying warm. So as we zoom things out, you notice we have that big departing storm here, but then this is, I think, the welcome change for a lot of our friends from the Rockies and then into the West. Big trough, big upper low, swings down here, and it really ejects a lot of this Pacific moisture back in to the Sierra, especially. So California, Nevada, maybe Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, we get into that. We start to get into some of that moisture. So I think that's what's going to be really a really welcome change going forward. So I mentioned, and if you caught the long form video from today, you know where I'm headed with this. This is kind of the snowfall through February 13th. So there's a little bit of snow coming already into the west of the Rockies. This is kind of the start. This is the subtle pattern change. We'll get into that, what's causing this in just one second. If you've been following for a long time, you know I always like to show my work, and you're not going to get out of that because I think it's important in this day and age when there are models plastered all over social media and people say not a forecast. I'm all about making a call and not letting the model dictate my job, okay? So that's how I roll for those of you that don't know me. And welcome to all the new people that might be finding us for the first time. And thanks for all the new subscribers that found us over the weekend when we were talking about this overall big pattern change. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on board. Let me know if this is the first time finding the channel or whatnot. So let's take this out. And the numbers right now aren't important. What I want to show you here is this overall footprint of snow that comes our way. Really starting we're going to get a little bit prior to that. And then you see the snow really start to pump up beyond Valentine's Day. So there it is. Tons and tons of snow to the Sierra. Let me get my dabber out. I mean, look at that. This is going to be through February 17th. There should be rounds and rounds and rounds of great moisture coming through. Salt Lake City, I know we've had some problems this year, and the mountains surrounding the city, potentially more than a foot, maybe a couple of inches, which would more than double what we've already had this year through February 17th. So if you've been missing the snow in the West, I think it's coming back. There is, I mean, that is from the Valentine's Day storm. So if this hits the way that it currently is, and it's likely going to change, there's some big snow coming towards the interior Northeast and the Canadian Maritimes. So this is why we're going to be doing daily updates on this Valentine's Day storm for sure. So if you're interested in that, hit that subscribe button. All right, Virginia says that we need some good rain for North Carolina. I think we have that coming. I think we have that coming. So this is going to be the rainfall forecast over the next 7 days, okay? And that yellow shaded area marks 2 inches of rain. It should be rain in North Carolina this time around. So especially in the western half of South Carolina and North Carolina, upwards of 2 inches, maybe even a little more rain is going to be possible. This is over the next 7 days. That darker green color, that's about 1.75 inches. So there could be a decent shot at a nice soaking rain coming to the Carolinas, and that's all going to be because of that Valentine's Day storm that ramps up around Valentine's Day and then works its way east the 15th and 16th into the 17th. As we show that potential timeline, we're getting a little more confidence in that timeline. We're confident that there's going to be a storm there. It's just that some of the nuances in the timeline and the exact impacts, all of that would need to be ironed out so far. Okay, so this tells everything right here. This is the jet stream pattern. I do think Florida gets some rain out of this. And that is critically important because we are way ahead of schedule in terms of where we should be for the drought in Florida. So this is, I think the model's overdoing it here. I love it if it didn't, but I do think Sunday into Monday, we're going to have rain. Again, I think this model is overdoing it in terms of the amount of rain coming through. This is the actual forecast. That's just kind of the simulated radar, which a lot of times this one is hot, but it's the only one I have that kind of goes out a little bit. I think this kind of tells the story here. The best opportunity for some good soaking rain is going to be northwest of I-4 toward the Florida Panhandle into Northeast Florida. And then amounts progressively get lower and lower and lower. So likely less than a half an inch in Orlando back to Tampa, and then maybe even less than that toward Lake Okeechobee, and then in toward Miami. Hey, Rick Carlton from Sulphur, Louisiana. Hope you're doing well. Janssen 2 asks, how does the MJO affect winter weather? Does the MJO affect winter weather? It does. It does. So same kind of deal as hurricane season. It kind of goes around the globe every 30 to 60 days. And depending upon where it's at, it does change the rainfall or snowfall pattern. So there are different areas around the world that, okay, we would expect an increased opportunity for, say, snow in the Northeast or maybe severe weather in the South. So the MJO is definitely something that we look at for the long range pattern in trying to nail that down. So 100%. 100% is a big factor for sure. Yeah, Southwest Florida is looking a little rough. I mean, the entire state is. We've had brush fires popping up all over the place. And unfortunately, I think that's just going to get worse. There's the drought monitor. And again, a lot of us in the state of Florida are at least in a moderate drought. But last week, we started to see this red really pop up and expand, and that is the extreme drought. And again, last year to date, we are way ahead of schedule. We're like 6 weeks ahead of some of the drought numbers when compared to last year. And last year was a pretty significant drought. One of the other things, too, in the state of Florida, the freeze is adding to that wildfire threat because it killed a lot of the vegetation that was out there. So this could be like a 1-2 punch that we really need to watch closely over the next couple of weeks because we really have to watch that vegetation. And the same thing would hold true up the eastern seaboard towards Georgia. Certainly the Carolinas have a drought. We are in that severe drought category from Raleigh back to Charlotte. The entire state, the only spot right now that's abnormally dry is closer to Morehead City. Otherwise, we're in at least a moderate to severe drought in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. I mean, it's rough. And then that drought still holds in South Texas. Jordan says she's been getting a lot of snowstorms in the winter in Wisconsin. Gatorzilla says, yeah, we need it in Southwest Florida, the rain. Virginia says North Carolina also in a drought. Just took a look at that. California is out of it. That was a big headline, although we just started to get into that abnormally dry category again. But for the first time in a long time, California is drought-free. And then other areas that have been super dry, the Intermountain West. And I think that's the part that is really going to change over the next 24 hours to 36 to 48 hours. And then, like, once we get into next week. So for that, I want to bring in the actual overall weather pattern. And where we're going to start things off here is this is the main flow right up here where I'm drawing this white line of the jet stream. So this is why we're so cold up in New England still. This little shortwave trough here, cut off low just about, that kind of snuck out, pinched off of the main flow. This is what's going to help to bring us kind of round one of the moisture. This is the mini change. Then, as we go further out into the future, let's play this out in totality here. And then I'll get rid of my telestrations as soon as this plays through. This is the really big stuff. That gigantic dip in the jet stream. So that is a major, large-scale, overall weather pattern change. That is going to send the cold right on down through here. And then this also is going to bring in moisture from the Pacific coast. So where we've been lacking rainfall, all up in this area there, that is what is going to be, I think that's where we're going to focus most of the heavy rain. Now, you see this interesting feature. And this high pressure means business, and this has its hand in why the pattern is going to be so amplified, where we have like the extremes down the west and then the other extreme back to the east. High pressure is building there off the side of the western side of Mexico, and then just blasting all up and through here. So we can expect post Valentine's Day a nice surge of warmth in the southeast, mid Atlantic, especially. I think the only spot that may be capped off, you see where the blues and purples still are, upstate New York, Vermont, Rhode Island. Um, Wild stuff. Excuse me, but there is the big dip in the jet stream that kind of changes everything and then brings that moisture back to the west. I shared this stat in Friday's video if you happen to catch that. Um, and this one was wild, and it had a lot of comments on Friday's video from people from Idaho, from Utah, Colorado saying, "We need snow. We need snow." Um, Only in Salt Lake City, a tenth of an inch of snow. The average is 31.7 inches. Now, I do think we're gonna add to this zero point 0.1 inch total, but it's been like scary dry out in that direction. Zachary says, I have a bad feeling for hurricane season that we might see more activity close to home. We'll see. I have not looked deep into hurricane season. I guess my question would be, what would make you think that? Or is it just a feeling? Because we're heading into an El Nino, which typically would favor things to recurve. Um, and based on other factors at the time. So there's that. Like the last time we were at El Nino was 2023. We had a lot of storms that year, but um nothing really connected with land, and we're hoping that that's going to be the case as we go forward next year. The other thing too, we've had a lot of pretty big winter storms, and that sometimes comes into like equaling everything out, and that could suppress some things this hurricane season, hopefully. So we'll see what happens on that front. I've yet to look deep into the tropical side of things. We've been kept busy with some of the crazy winter weather that have been sliding through the United States lately. A wildfire is basically just what it describes. It's a fire that is wild. So either man-made, somebody let a campfire get out of control, or maybe a lightning strike, and then it is a fire that was not prescribed. So anything that's kind of out of control there, um, and is a fire that is burning outside the brush, forest, anything like that, all of that is going to be a wildfire. Could be close recurves. I was expecting that last year, and we really didn't see that a ton. We guess we did have a lot of the recurves close to the Carolina coastline. That was part of our forecast. The close recurves typically happen in ENSO neutral, which is what we have last year. Like El Nino, you typically get these things to ramp up and get out of there quick. Um, that's the and then keeping things out of the Gulf again. So that's going to be the interesting thing. Although we did not have a golf season at all last year, thankfully, we got a nice break. So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, I've not looked at much of the data when it comes to potentially forecasting long range for the hurricane season just yet. That will be coming soon as we are in February, and we're going to start to get, honestly, seasonal forecasts for that come out in less than 2 months from some of the big gun private sector academia stuff. Colorado State's going to have theirs out in early April. So, I mean, it's almost time for that, which is terrible to say. If you're just joining us tonight, we have about 10 minutes left in our live stream. Post in the comments for me where you're tuning in from. If you're finding us for the first time, I would love to know about it, give you a shout out. We're here every Monday at about 8:30, just streaming, talking the weather, whether it's quiet like tonight or whether it is busy. We are always doing that. So I actually had it on the fire tracker there. Let me turn it on the national radar. See what's going on tonight across the country. So we have some rain up in northwest of the Twin Cities. There is where we have a little bit of a mix going on. Some snow in northern Wisconsin, Sault Ste. Marie. Detroit, we're clear, but freezing. The lakes are basically, at least Erie. Erie is very, very iced over. So the lake effect season's kind of winding down because of how cold it's been. You need the warm water over the cold air over the warm water, relatively warm water, pushing through. There's some lightning strikes on the other side of the border. That's something we haven't seen in a while, some lightning, which we could get over the next couple of days. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to show you here, let me minimize some stuff and get to the other computer source. This is a long range product. And again, a lot of people share these and to create alarm and panic on social media. What this is another tool in the toolbox, and this is an accumulated supercell composite parameter. So basically, it highlights the opportunity for supercells and severe weather. Supercells sometimes produce tornadoes, and you see right through here, there's a little bit of a signal. It's nothing crazy, and there's the scale to kind of. I mean, we're down here on the scale. If it was up here, I would certainly be a little more concerned for the severe weather potential as it comes with that Valentine's Day storm, but it's nothing too crazy. There is a signal there, though, and this far out, it raises eyebrows, and then you do a little bit more. Again, the overall weather pattern change that's coming, that's going to bring the winter back or really start winter in the West, is going to continue in that direction. And really just change everything and give that severe weather threat going forward. So it's going to be interesting, really, really interesting to see over the next week to 10 days how this is all going to shake out. And again, we have a decent idea that we are looking for that going forward. Alrighty, guys. Losing my voice tonight. Been doing a lot of talking, doing a lot of videos lately. I hope you found them interesting. Let me know. Love to hear some feedback on some of the videos and just how things are going tonight, going forward. So thank you guys a ton for tuning in tonight. Again, we're here at 8:30 every Monday night. Come with questions. If it's related to what we're talking about, awesome. If it's not, awesome as well. Like we had a question tonight about the MJO. Fantastic question. We can get all into that. We can stay on the track. We can get off the track. You guys steer the ship. So it's awesome. It's why I love the show. It's why I love the channel. If you are into that stuff, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys a ton for the support, for watching the videos over the weekend. We're going to keep those coming. We're going to keep those cranking out. Really appreciate everything. If you found this content helpful, this live stream helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you in the next video and in the next live stream. We'll see you soon.